Is there a problem, sir? What's your fucking problem?
Alex, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Qu'est-ce que this fucking plane's gonna explode! Shut up, Brownie.
You're so not funny.
Welcome back to the Hiding for Horrors podcast, where we review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark.
I'm Tawan.
And today we're reviewing Final Destination, released in 2000, directed by James Wong, and story by Glenn Morgan, James Wong, and Jeffrey Riddick. Tawan, can you give the people the plot summary?
Alex Browning and his class are embarking on a trip to Paris. Alex experiences a premonition where he sees the plane explode moments after leaving the ground. Alex insists that everyone get off the plane, and 7 people, including Alex, are forced to disembark. All watch as the plane actually explodes in a fireball. He and the other survivors have briefly cheated death, but will not be able to evade their fate for very long. One by one, these fugitives from fate fall victim to the Grim Reaper.
We've finally gotten to the Final Destination franchise. I know you've been requesting this. You've been requesting us to do this for a long time.
I have. Final Destination is one of my favorite franchises.
It's one of mine too, and I was thinking, like, when we get down to the ranking episode, I was like, fuck, that's gonna be hard for me because at any given moment, I can say that 3 of these movies can be interchangeable for my top spot. There is one that's like for sure at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. I know it's the same for both of us. I don't even have to ask which one. We'll get there when we get there, but I know it's the same.
Yes, but like going to this one, like I saw this. I want to say, actually, I think I might have seen it in 2000, either late 2000 or early 2001. Whenever it hit, it was on video and DVD. So I remember seeing this when I was a kid, like not too soon after it came out. Because y'all, I was like 4 or 5, going to 5, leaning into 6 in 2001. Because, I'm almost 30. But yeah, I remember this coming out, and I was excited to see this as a kid and going back because I had already seen Devon Sawa in a different horror, like a horror comedy movie. So this was just like, oh, I can see him in something else again. Because I don't know if you ever seen The Idle Hand.
I don't think I've seen that. I think we were supposed to cover that, right?
We're gonna cover it after Final Destination because
Okay, because I remember you bringing it up, but I don't think we actually did it.
I brought it up a few times because there have been like I don't know, there have been other actors. I think I brought it up when we did the little short review of the Chucky series, the first season, because that was one of the first horror movies I ever saw Devon Sawa. I mean, that also has like Vivica A. Fox for some fucking reason, and Jessica Alba in one of her first roles. So like, it's a stupid, dumb horror comedy, and like we're definitely gonna get there. So like, I was excited to see Devon Sawa in this again, and let's just get into the movie itself. Now, for me, this first movie is great. It set up a lot of mystery. It sets up a lot of possibilities. But it also does something that isn't done again. And we'll talk about that. Because there's a particular scene that I want to talk about when we get to the scene section. That's also a kill section. It's just, I don't know, that scene kind of just like takes it out for me. But overall, this is a good movie. Like from the production, from some of the acting is questionable. But from the cast, I mean, because even the guy who plays Carter, I grew up loving Dawson's Creek, and he played the only gay character on there. And this was a good movie, and I felt the creepy vibes. What about you? What are your thoughts of Final Destination?
Yeah, like this one, I think just going back, I believe I saw Final Destination 2 first, and then I went back to see this one when I was younger. And this one had more of a like creep factor to it, compared to some of the others. Like, they still do good with like keeping up that suspense feeling when you get in like the other movies. But I feel like this one, I don't know, it just felt like it had like more of a creepiness to it, or like it felt more suspenseful. But also it was just because at the time I'm sure at the time, like with this particular one, like, it being the first one, no one really knew what was going to happen, like we kind of do with the franchise as it is now. So it was kind of just one of those like, oh shit type of like a feelings, like, oh, who's getting it next? When's it going to happen? What's going to happen? So I feel like that feeling kind of comes out a lot in this one. Um, Besides that, though, um, it holds up still pretty well. Like, showing this one to anyone who hasn't seen any other franchise, it's one of those, you know, older films where you can show it to someone and they can still appreciate it. And it doesn't feel like it's aged like poorly or anything, nor have like the effects and stuff as well, which
I mean, most of them were practical. Besides,
yeah,
like
that's what I was about to say too.
yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say like the practical, yeah, like practical effects, they always hold up over time. Like they just do it so well, and um, I feel like that's why one of
which
them.
hurt, which hurts a particular entry in this franchise when they get away from the
I was just thinking it. I was just thinking it. 'Cause,
We'll get there.
ooh,
We'll get there when we get there.
I
But
know. I was just thinking it like, ooh, the way it goes. But yeah, it's like it's held up like very good over time, and I'm glad that we're finally getting to this franchise, and also that it's making a comeback as well with an upcoming movie for next year.
which sounds really good. Like, I've been looking at the breakdown they've been playing out for that new movie, and it seems so interesting. So I
Hmm.
kind of can't wait to see what happens. But for this one, let's talk about some scenes that stood out, good, bad, or indifferent. I have to say, the scene with his parents in the beginning
For you. Whoa, mama, you gotta leave that on.
was kind of
Yeah, it's
weird,
like,
only because I don't think we ever saw them again. Did we?
Wait, say that again.
Like we get that scene with him with Alex and his parents in the beginning. They're
Hmm.
talking about the bag and all that. But I don't think we really like see them again after that.
That is true.
And
Now
I feel like
thinking back, we
and
don't
that
see
kind
them.
of yeah, I think that goes for like all the parents. Like your kid, like if my kid just narrowly escaped from being blown up in a plane like explosion, that motherfucker's gonna be stuck to me, no matter whether they want
No,
it or
actually,
not.
though.
like, like you barely got off the plane because you had a vision. You're going to be stuck to me. Like you're going to be so annoyed, but you're not getting out of my sight. And
No,
not to
for real.
mention, now your friends are dying, and like you. I no, like where were the parents? All the parents actually. There needs to be some parental supervision.
No, that's actually true though. I never even thought about that. I definitely would not be letting my child out of my view after any of that. Especially after the rest of them ended up dying too. Like, okay, one, e- especially with the first one, which I guess it'll give one of my scene as well. The first death that we get post the blow up, which was
Todd,
which
his best
which was
friend.
yeah, Todd, the best friend, because they made it. They made it. There's like, well, not they made it. Depth or whoever the powers that be made it seem like he killed himself, which is crazy. Like the way that it went about it made it seem like that he killed himself.
Okay, yes, okay. That was the scene. That was the one I was referencing. So I'm gonna hot like because it doesn't do that for the rest of the movie,
Hmm.
nor does it do that in the second movie, or like I don't think it did it in the third one. I can't tell you what they did in the fourth one, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
they
do
didn't.
like
Yeah, they didn't do that anymore. I wonder if that was
it
maybe just a
was
one off.
Yeah, it was only for that. Like it cleaned up after itself for that one kill.
Yeah,
And
that
didn't do it
part.
again.
Yeah, I've always thought about that actually. Yeah, whenever I watch that one, because it like the water like goes back under the sink or whatever, and yeah, that never happens again. Like death, like cleaning up after itself. It was definitely it was very weird, but
Yeah,
you know,
that scene always throws me off because of that.
yeah, that was never yeah, that's never explained. But I mean, we got a lot of shit that's never explained in this franchise.
And then going back to pre-explode, like pre-vision, like all the stuff in the airport. Like, I'm sorry, I have close friends, lots of close friends, but we are not taking shits together.
Let's go take a shit. So why don't you take a shit by yourself? No, dude.
Why are they taking this shit together?
They're boys.
No, like we
They're,
don't do that.
they're
Even as a
straight
gay,
boys.
even as a gay, we don't go to the bathroom together.
Straight men do shit like that.
I guess I was like,
Don't you got brothers?
we don't shit together.
Yeah, you don't shit with them, but what they be doing with their friends?
I
Like
don't know what
straight
the
dudes
I
do
don't know what the shits be doing. I don't know what the shits be doing.
straight dudes do the weirdest shit with their friends.
And then also to go to the ending, when they say, "Oh, we finally made it to Paris,"
Wow. It's weird being here, huh? We finally completed a puzzle.
why did you get back on the airplane?
No, that's facts.
Like I, I was just thinking like to myself, yes, I have all these places, all these countries I want to visit that I plan on visiting. But if I just narrowly survive a plane explosion, a plane crash, or whatever, a hijacking, it could have been a loose fucking boat. If I survive this deadly incident, you cannot catch me on a plane. Get me on a boat, get me on a train, but I won't be on a plane. Like I don't care what the situation is. Like why did they go to Paris? You almost died, and why is that bitch blonde all of a sudden?
Damn, she can't dye her hair. I don't think that was the. Well, okay, now I don't remember. Now I really don't remember if this was the case. I don't think that was the original ending, though.
Nope, it wasn't.
Okay,
That's not.
so maybe
That's
that's
not the.
why.
That's not the original ending. Yep, that's exactly why. Like
Yeah,
I know the real world reason of why her hair was blonde, but I'm just saying.
yeah, but yeah. So, but that ending scene. That was a good one because you know watching it for the first time. Shit, I was fooled. I was like, okay, it's all good now, But damn, Death was like, no, we coming back. We go spin the block.
Mhm.
Death really said we go spin the block. It came right back for their ass. So yeah, that was a good one. Also, the
We can talk about the kills too. You can go ahead and mix it all up in it.
yeah. Also, the one with Mrs. Luden, I think that was her name, the
The
teacher.
teacher. Hmm.
That was crazy. her
That whole
her
kill. That whole kill. That whole kill thing.
that whole scene was crazy for her. And then like now, okay, I get I get that he wanted to try to save her by pulling a knife out. I get that. But at the same time, it's like, bro, you just
Rule 101. If something is sticking out of someone, you don't pull it out. You leave it in because it's that thing that's inside of them is keeping the blood and everything inside. But once you take the fucking thing out, they bleed out. You know? And then yo, you fucking had fingerprints all over the weapon now. They're gonna think you murdered a woman.
exactly,
Like, I don't
exactly.
understand. I don't understand. It's so much. It was so much happening, and since we're mixing in kills, I have to say, I've seen this movie several times, but the bus scene,
I'm moving on, Carter. And if you want to waste your life beating the shit out of Alex every time you see him, then you can just drop fucking dead.
Still gets me.
Bro.
It still gets me. And I'm not gonna lie, like when I rewatched the movie today for the podcast, I was high. And so when I tell you being high when that bus scene happened, I was not prepared because she literally just turned around and then snapped.
Oh my god. It's literally like showing somebody this movie for the first time and them get into that scene is like having somebody watch like Scream for the first time and is seeing like the like the twist and shit at the end, because it's like everybody's always surprised at that.
Yes. Cause it just happens out of fucking nowhere. Like they're all talking like the way it's set up, you know something's about to happen, but you aren't sure what it is.
Mm.
And I was thinking, we're gonna get rid of Carter first. He's the jackass. But then no, it's his girlfriend. But then the disappointing kill for me, only because we don't see it, and we don't even get a confirmation until like the next movie is Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Because I kept on. Every time I watched that scene, I'm just like, could he have survived that? Because I feel like Alex had enough time to be like, just drop, or Alex could have like made Carter fall before the fucking sign hit him. I feel like there was time to save Carter from the sign, or was that
There's a
just me?
little. I mean, there probably was a little time that they could have used to try to save him, but I don't know. I like what we got.
Yeah, but what about you? Any other scenes or kills that stood out? Kills or scenes? Oh,
Um,
the interrogation shit after the plane explosion. Like these kids are traumatized. Everyone they
yeah.
know, their entire class was just blowing up. They were almost blowing up. Like, give these kids a minute. And where are their parents?
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree with that because but also but it's like also one of those things was like I get it at the same time. Because like if somebody was like, let's be realistic. Somebody's like, the plane's gonna explode. The plane's gonna explode. They get you off. The plane takes off and then explodes. Nah.
Yeah, lock him up. Yeah, lock him up. I get it. I get it.
It's like I get it. It's like I do get it because like ain't no way. Like especially now, if this was now, everybody getting off that plane. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
they getting
And we
everybody
finna
off the
check.
plane.
And
It's
we
gonna
finna we
they have to
finna check
recheck.
this bitch.
Exactly, they about to recheck everybody. Like it's about to be a whole ordeal.
They send another plane in just to be safe.
Literally.
Like,
So
don't
like
play
I
with
get
them
it.
dude.
But before we leave scenes, I just gotta mention my boy, Tony Todd.
In death, there are no accidents, no coincidences, no mishaps, and no escapes. What you have to realize is that we're all just a mouse that a cat has by the tail. Every single move we make, from the mundane to the monumental, the red light that we stop at or run, the people we have sex with or won't with us, the airplanes that we ride or walk out of. It's all part of death's sadistic design, leading to the grave.
I was already scared of him because my little ass was always scared of the fucking Candyman. So when I saw him in this, I was like, nope, he doing it. It's him. He be scaring the fuck out of me. His demeanor is just
That
like
was another scene. It's the voice.
it is the voice. Like
It's
his
the
ass be
voice.
scaring me.
Like, I guess. Let's move on to characters. Not that much police presence in this one. There wasn't really much
Um,
going on with the cop.
Yeah,
Well,
not
that was
enough to.
yeah. There wasn't like a cop that was like I know in like the latter ones.
The fifth one for sure.
Yes, but in this one it's not. So we're gonna skip the cops and we're gonna talk about William Bloodsworth, played by Tony Todd. Now we get like what one or two scenes with this character, but I know he comes back in
Mhm.
sequels. He's mysterious. He works at a mortuary. He knows about death design. So it's like, is he in cahoots with death? Is he profiting off of death because he works at a mortuary?
That I'm sorry, that'd be so funny.
How does he know about the design? This is one of my main gripes with this franchise. It's just like it starts with this movie and it continues with all his appearances. It's like, how does he know about death? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've thought the same. Like with it, especially after seeing this one, and then he comes back like later on in the series and stuff. And it's kind of one of those things where he kind of just exists as the what's the word I'm looking for? He kind of exists as
As
a just a
exposition.
plot device, yeah, exposition device for us, really. And but it works. But I don't know why, because like other movies. If this was another movie, I'd have been like, why is he telling us everything? Like this doesn't. I'm not fucking with this. But it works in here for some reason for me because
It
it's so
does.
mysterious.
And it makes you want to know more about him. That's what I think it is. Like, yes, it's exposition, but it's exposition coming from this random character who we don't know anything about.
I
And
think that's what it is.
usually when a character comes on scene, like a random character out the blue comes on scene, gives exposition, and then leave, I hate it. But the fact that it's Tony Todd and the voice and it's just like everything mixed in makes me want to know more and makes me mad
Hmm.
that we don't get more. Besides these like two scenes we get him in this movie.
Yeah, yeah, I get what you mean, and that's kind of how I feel about it too. When it comes to like Bloodworth's character, like he's kind of like he's like our little franchise like spokesperson. Like when he pops up, it's like, oh, Bloodworth back.
Yes, and it makes it. And the movies that he's not in, I'm still like looking for him. Like, when is he gonna pop up? How they gonna do this? Because I know he's. There are two of them he's not in. He's not in three. He's not in four.
Hmm.
So, but you have any more thoughts on Bloodworth?
Yeah, nothing else on him. Well, I know I'm glad he's coming. We already know he's coming back for the new one.
I'm excited for that. I can't wait to see how he plays in. Hopefully, we get more fleshed out story for him.
Yeah, I would definitely like that. I think we are though. I think they did can kind of say that we would be.
Well, let's move on to Carter, our resident dick who became Alex's best friend at the end. Now, again, I was a huge Kerwin Smith fan from Dawson's Creek. You know, he played the gay character. And I thought he was a cute little white boy, but I didn't. This was a whole different character compared to what I was used to seeing him as. And I thought he was going to die like early on. And the fact that people kept on dying and he didn't die, I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? The meathead jock is always like victim number two or three. Why is he still here? Then I was like, damn, they finna redeem him. And then damn, here came the sign.
Yeah,
Because honestly, I would have been okay if he was in the sequel instead of the person that we get in the sequel. No
I kind of
spoilers.
like who we got in the sequel. No
I do
spoilers.
too. I do too. But if it was a 1-2 punch, it could have been both of them. But I don't want to spoil it. People who haven't seen the movie, watch the movie. But what about you? What are your thoughts on Carter?
Yeah, Carter definitely came off as that. Even though this movie came out in 2000, he definitely was given 90s like He was even then they were also in high school, but he was given like '90s like douchey frat bro character, and he was just being kind of like a dick for no reason type of deal.
I mean, this movie came out in like the summer of 2000. They were still shaking off the '90s.
Yeah, so we basically was right there, but um, I guess, which I mean, understandable. It didn't kick in for him on what we were into until his girlfriend fucking got splattered by a bus in front of him. But what was also funny to me with this character was that whole scene when then he decided to stop on the train tracks. It was like, no, we're like all gonna go out, and like he got stuck, and like how scared he got.
Get out of the car! I can't get out! No!
It was like, oh, like them defenses
He
went down
was
real quick.
so scared. He was ready to piss himself. Like I
For
thought he was
real,
going
like
to go out.
yeah, like them defenses ran down real quick when like real shit was in front of you. So he really wasn't even like all that what he was trying to like, you know, step into. So it wasn't even like that big of a deal with him. But yeah, he served his purpose for like what his archetype needed to be for like a horror movie, I guess you could say.
I thought the character was needed. I was just still surprised that on. He was in more of the movie that I thought he was going to be in. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
But what about Clear Rivers?
I hated her name. Why's her name Clear, bro? Because I
It
always
made
just call her as
absolutely
Claire.
no. I swear I thought it was Clear, but
That shit was always funny to me. Um, I did like her character though, because I do like Ali Larter as an actress. So
I love
I,
Iowa. I've been
yeah,
a
so
huge
I thought she
fan
was good.
since she was in Heroes. That's where I first saw her in Heroes.
I think I only first saw her in this, and then after that, the Resident Evil movies and shit.
She
Which
wasn't Resident Evil.
I used to confuse her and Milia Djokovic a bit because they do kind of favor each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like her in this movie. Um, she was the only one that was really trying to be helpful. Like, because it's like I was like, well, in the context of the movie, of course, I do understand, this situation. Like you just got saved from like being killed in a plane explosion. Got that. And I get why some people wouldn't want to associate with a person who, even though they got them off the plane and stuff, I could see why somebody wouldn't want to associate with like Alex, for example, because it's giving bad omen vibes. It's giving like, oh, like you're like, yeah, we got saved, but like you're also that's not really good energy. So she was the only one that was, trying to be there for him in this time because he basically just instantly got turned into a social outcast at that point.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how many people he got off the plane, if somebody, if somebody's kid or other family member didn't make it off, like they're mad at him. So understandable to an extent, but she, was the only one that was kind of trying to help him out and figure out what is going on with all of this. And she was very good in that kind of supporting role that they placed her into. And I also like that they didn't force them into a relationship immediately, which is, I think, kind of where that alternate ending comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I like that it wasn't kind of forced because that would have felt like a little too much to me, or kind of like sure, like they'll be together now. Um, and I don't, and I'm trying to think because I don't know why I feel like I would have liked it better if she was the protagonist. Not liked it better. I feel like I would have liked her as the protagonist as opposed to Alex.
Really?
I think so. But
She was kind of dry at first, though.
I feel like that was kind of like her character though, right? Like outcast, kind of like um damn, why am I forgetting that she was given that she was given the energy as that girl from the Breakfast Club, the basket case.
Oh, Allie. Her name was also Allie. But yeah, I guess I know what you mean.
Like
I
she
love
was
that
kind of
movie.
giving. I feel like she was given like that energy, which that matches like what the character they were going for with her. Maybe if they had switched, the character type around a bit, it could have worked as her being a protagonist. But um, liked her in this movie, and for what's to come.
Well, let's talk about let's talk about Alex now. What we didn't do, which I forgot, I wanted to talk about the premonition itself. Well, so we'll go back to that. But Alex, like, I I don't think it's ever explained why the person who gets the vision.
Never.
'Cause, like, and because now going back and thinking, like, someone like I don't know. I just didn't like the character of Alex. Like, I'd never clicked with him.
Yeah, that's how I feel. That's why
And
I said
so,
I would have probably like Claire as the main character because I never really liked Alex.
yeah, Alex just wasn't clicking, and it wasn't because of the acting or anything. There are other scenes and actors in this movie that was doing a bad job, but I know I just didn't feel connected to this character. He just felt manic. Like when we first meet him, like he's nerdy, he's anxious, he's weird. But that doesn't improve. He just gets more nerdy and anxious and weird and progresses. And I just never felt like because the character was always manic, I can never feel comfortable when the character was on screen.
That's an interesting take.
What about you? What are your thoughts on Alex?
Yeah, and I don't really know what it is, but it was just something about the character, and like you mentioned, it wasn't Devin Sawa, like it wasn't an actor, like he was doing good, like for what was like given to him, but yeah, just something about the characterization and how they wanted this character of Alex to act. It was just never really clicking for me, and I never really understood why that is. It kind of still don't to this point. I will agree with what you were kind of saying with like how um you were never not like comfortable, but you were never really um like he
I was never able to be at ease watching the movie
yeah,
because Alex was
but also
always.
yeah. But also it's like fuck, because I probably wouldn't be at ease either if that shit just happened to me. So it's also kind of that as well. It's like also like agree with the character's feelings, because if that happened to me, like nobody would be seeing. Well, one, nobody would be seeing me, but two, I'm looking behind the back for my rest. I'm looking behind my back for the rest of my life, depending. Well, wouldn't have that much time in this universe. But as long as I could, because I would be so paranoid at that point, especially because we don't have any reasoning as to why the premonition happened. And if you just see it like that and it does happen, I'm scared as fuck. And I would also be like anxious as hell, scared as fuck, all of that, just like Alex. But I don't. I don't know. Well, I don't know how to explain why. Maybe it is Devin Sawa. I don't know. Because like
It's just
everything the character did, I get, but the way that it came across in the movie, I don't like or care for.
it was just something about the character itself. It just something just always felt like I don't know. It just felt like something was missing. The character was all like I get like you said, I get why the character was anxious and all over the place and felt weird. But it never let the audience be at ease, which I guess works if we're all on edge like he is. I guess that works to a degree.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It just I felt a disconnect when it came to Alex.
I think that's what it is.
Hmm. Well, we've come to the end of the beginning, but I forgot, so we're going to do it here. Let's talk about the premonition. Now, the setup for it was great. I didn't even remember first watching it, and I'm thinking like, "Damn, they just killed off the entire fucking cast. Like, what the fuck is this about to be about?" And then it snaps back, and it hasn't happened yet. Now, what were your thoughts on the premonition?
The premonition was really good in this, like, especially, just like the scene with Terry and him on a bus, seeing it for the first time and, not knowing what you're about to get into. Like they built it up so well, especially like when the plane was like get ready to leave and stuff, like, and the music they were playing during the scene, like it all came together so well, and it really cemented like this movie and the rest of them, like with the way that they went about the premonition, because it's like people associate Final Destination with, one, the premonition at the beginning of the movie, and then two, the creative ways that the characters go out. It's kind of like, we all know it's like the thing of the franchise. So the way they set this one up so good, and then it kicking back into Alex being on the plane like right before it happens, and then getting everyone off, like, it was just perfect.
It kind of set it up perfectly. Like it was like you get to just throughout the premonition, it gives you a close up of like each person dying that we're going to eventually spend more time with, and
Hmm.
it's just showing these people just being picked off and like people. Those airplane deaths were wild. And then that
Yeah,
unknown couple that gets like the unknown girl who gets like swept out and like
crazy.
sucked up into the engine was like
Turbine. Yeah.
wow. Yeah, that was insane. Like the whole premonition was insane and it had a lot going on and I don't know, it just seemed like yeah, I get why he was freaked out and anxious. Did I like it? Like based off the if I had that premonition, I don't know if I would have been able to function properly, but I don't know. Almost at the end, but we're not quite there yet because Tuan has to give the people the behind the scenes info and facts. Tuan,
Final Destination had a budget of 23 million and it brought in a box office of 112.9 million. Some interesting facts. The movie was originally supposed to be an X-Files episode. The episode was titled Flight 180 and had the same basic concept of teens cheating death, but the main character in the episode would have been Scully's brother. But with the film, they were able to be so much more detailed when discussing Death's role in the plane crash. Most of the characters in this movie get memorable death scenes, but their character names are even more fascinating, as most of the characters' names in the film pay tribute to iconic horror directors and actors. The filmmakers originally had an ending in which Alex grabs the cable that lies on Claire's car. Alex catches fire and dies. Then Claire gets her baby, and Carter survives. The test audiences didn't like this, so the filmmakers shot another ending in which Alex is decapitated by a crashing police helicopter. That sounds interesting. Um
They were gonna have a baby, and then Carter and Clea were gonna raise their baby. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with the audiences on this one. I'm glad what we got actually. Maybe the test audiences aren't always wrong. um, some critics' reactions. The film currently sits at a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, that's not. The New York Times said that even by the crude standards of teenage horror, Final Destination is dramatically flat. The Washington Post wrote that your own Final Destination just might be the box office to demand your money back. While Robert Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times enjoyed the film and gave it 3 out of 4 stars, stating that Final Destination will no doubt be a hit and inspire the obligatory sequels. Like the original Scream, this movie is too good to be the end of the road. See, that's why I fucking Roger Ebert. He saw the vision.
He did. He even said in that same quote that after he put, "Oh, I can see that more sequels are coming." He was like, "Oh, I even have my own in mind." Like he saw the vision.
That's why
But
he's one of the goats.
for some of he has some questionable takes. But what about our
You
take,
right.
Tuan? Do we cash or pass Final Destination, Tuan?
Yes, unlike those critics, I very much cash Final Destination. I've always had a good time watching this movie. I'm always talking about this movie and the others like sequels because some of the stuff that just happens in them, you're able to just bring them back up so easily, and it's very not like quotable in pop culture, but like visually, when people you see certain things, it makes you think of Final Destination, and it's very easy to just like, oh, Final Destination moment when something happens. So it's definitely one of those things that movies that have um, survived the test of time. Glad we're finally talking about it and happy to see it come back. This first one was a blast, and literally, and yeah, I very much cashed this one. I don't have any problems like coming back and watching this movie whenever.
Well, for me, it's also going to be a cash. I love Final Destination, and like you said, Tuan, there's things that happen every day that just remind you of a Final Destination movie. I'm not gonna lie, like there are certain like little shakes on a plane where I'm just like, damn, is this my moment? Am I about to, am I about to get my vision? So, like, I don't know this movie. I don't know, I don't want to say it's a cult classic, but I think it is. It's a cult classic.
I think
This is a
it
movie
is.
that like this is a movie and kicking off a franchise that we've all seen some part of somehow, and it's just this is a good movie. The killer, the intensity is there, whether you like it or not. I didn't really like most of the intensity because it was coming off of just one character, but it's there, and this is a good movie. So this is the cash. This is start to the franchise that they didn't know was going to be a franchise. And for me, kicking off for the rest of these movies, there are two more movies that I definitely like for sure. There's one that's okay, and then there's just one that is just horrible. But we will get there when we get there. So thank you guys so much for joining us for this new retrospective review. Elion will be back with us next week. But until then, good night.
If you like this episode, please check out the Haddonfield Horror podcast from big series like Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Saw, or our one-off reviews like The Blackening and Hereditary. You can follow Haddonfield Horrors on Instagram and TikTok, where the hosts post updates and mini-reviews. Full episodes are available on several podcasting platforms and YouTube. If you're listening to us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. The Haddonfield Horror podcast is produced by Mark Smart,
Maria Perez,
Twan Griffin, and Elian Cordova. Themed by Lethal Injection and edited by Mark Smart.
The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is a Letters to Media production.
Should we do an intro?